Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. See the screen? Nilesh, you are able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is a session on Samasa, in particular Dvandva Samasa. We would have more sessions on the other Samasas also that are required for KSOU final year MA exam. In this session, before we get into Dvandva Samasa, we will see certain aspects about Samasa itself. So Samasaha, Samasanam Samasaha. So what is Samasa? Anekasya padasya ekapadi bhavanam Samasaha ityarthaha. So when many words join together to give one single meaning, it is Samasa. Samasaha ekavidha vritti. So it is a type of vritti. Now what is vritti? There are 5 different vrittis in Sanskrit. What is vritti? Samudaya Shaktya Vishishta Ekartha Pradivadaka vritti. So Samudaya Shaktya means by the strength of the group. So when a word or more words they join together or some process happens, it's the vritti process happens on those words and they transform to give a Ekartha Pratipadaka. So they join together or they undergo some changes to give a new word that is called vritti. So the 5 different types. The first one, krid vritti. Example is pachati iti pachakaha. So pachati is a kriyapadam, pach from the pach dhatu. So some changes are done to that dhatu and we arrive at a new word. That is an example of krid vritti. Then tadita vritti. Like how we started with dhatu and arrived at a word, here we are starting with Shubhanta, the Pratipadika. And based on that, it undergoes changes. Like example here, Dasharathasya Apatyam Puman Dasharati. So here we took one Shubhanta and it underwent some changes and we arrive at a new word that indicates a different meaning. And Samasa Vritti, which we will be seeing in detail, example Rajnyaha Purushaha, Raja Purushaha. Then Ekasesha Vritti. It is important to know that this is not a part of Dvandva Samasa, though the Vigraha Vakya, Matacha Pitacha, would be same as that of Dvandva Samasa. Here, this is a separate kind of Vritti in which Ekashesha, only one remains. So that is here Pitarau. Mata is lost and only one word Pitta remains here. Then finally San Adi, we have that Sananta and different such suffixes. Sannadyanta dhatu vrittihi. So patitam ichchati iti pipatishati. So certain words are formed and they give a special meaning there. When we add this san pratyaya, like that different pratyayas when we add, we get different meanings. So these are the 5 types of vritti. And here these Rajnyaha Purusha, Raja Purusha, there are 2 parts to this. One is the Vigraha Vakya, Rajnyaha Purusha. So what is a Vigraha Vakya? Vrityartha Bodhakam Vakyam Vigraha. The sentence that explains what is conveyed by the Samastapadam is the Vigraha Vakyam. Again, there are 2 types of Vigraha Vakyam. We won't get into that now. Okay, Rajnyaha Purusha is the Vigraha Vakyam and Raja Purusha is the Samastapadam. So Samasa Sambandaha Sadharana Niyamaha. Are you able to hear me so far? Nilesh?
Yeah, we can hear you very well.
Okay. Samasa Sambandaha Sadharana Niyamaha. Certain rules that we need to keep in mind when we are doing samasas. Subandhanameva samasah natu tigandanam. So we have the verbs and the nouns. The samasa happens between the nouns only. The next question is, so between the verbs, there are no, when we say there are no samastapada, then nava subhantena saha tigantasya. Can there be a combination of subhanta and tiganta which join together to give a samasa? That is also clarified. It can't be done. It has to be only subhantanam eva samasah iti. It has to be a subhanta. And then सामान्यतः युगपद्वयोः सुबन्तयोः एव समासः. So at one point of time we would actually take only two words and join them together, though in certain literature we might find a single word running across many lines, but at one point of time rajya purusha rajapurusha tasya griham rajapurusha griham, whatever, we can keep extending it, but at any point of time we would take two terms. So one could be a compound word and one more part getting added. That's how we extend it. While this general rule is there, there is one exceptional case where dvandve tu yugapat bahunamapi padanam samaso bhavitum. So here you can take ramascha krishnascha athva ramascha lakshmanascha bharatascha shagnunascha. You can add any number of people, and at one go itself we can create the samastapadam. And samartayoho eva samasah. There has to be samartyam. So what is this samartyam? Parasparanvitayoho subantayoho eva samasah. So there has to be some connection between the two words. You can't just in a sentence randomly pick two words. As long as they are subantas, you can't just pick them up and combine them. For example, even the Rajnyaha Purusha can be combined as Rajapurusha. If you see this example, Yadha Bhavati Darshanam Rajnyaha Putra Chorasya Davati. So here, as we know in Sanskrit, we can organize the words in differently. Here, what it means is Yada Rajnyaha Darshanam Bhavati, when he saw the king, Chorasya Putraha Davati, the thief's son ran away. So here there is no relationship between Rajnyaha and Putraha. So here we can't do Rajaputraha. So that way there has to be Samartyam. There has to be that kind of a relationship between two words, a meaningful relationship between two words for us to do Samasa there. And certain aspects that we need to do whenever we are doing Samasa. Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram. So there has to be a Panini Sutra which says that okay, Samasa is possible between these two words. So he might not have explicitly mentioned all the words, but he would say this type of words. Okay, you can take the Saptami Vibhakti word and add it to something else. If he has stated like that, then only we can take those words and we can do the Samastapadam. So whenever any example is given from an examination perspective, we would have to mention according to which sutra this samasa is possible. And then the other aspects, the prakriya, the way to arrive from the Vigraha Vakyam to the Samastapadam, there are different steps involved. The other aspect that we need to check is Purvapada Nirnayaha. So which, when there are two terms, idanim dantanam raja, that is also there, and rajnya putra. Here we say rajaputra, but in dantanam raja we say rajadantaha. So which term has to be placed first? There are rules that determine that. We need to know those sutras and apply them. Then samasta
Hello? Unable to hear you.
What about others? Let me check.
Yeah, I'm here. I think you got disconnected for like 2, 3 minutes.
Oh, exact.
Yeah, you have to go all the way
Till
back.
what you were able to hear?
No, none of us were able to hear.
No, till what point, Vritti, did you?
That slide is over. You go to the next slide.
Yeah, this
That
one.
is also over. You go to the next slide.
Okay.
The I think only the Samasa Vidhayakam Shastram and Purva Pada Nirnaya, these 2 points you mentioned.
Okay, so once we first thing is we need to know which is the sutra by which the samasa is possible. Next is which term should come first. Then samasta padasya linga nirnayam, the combined word, the compound word. What should be the linga gender for that compounded word? And there could be certain changes like mahat could become maha. Like that, the changes done to the first part purva pada they come under Purva Pade Visheshaha. Similarly, if we do some changes to the Uttarapada, the second one, then there are certain rules as to what should happen to the second pada. We see that Samasanta, we add at the end some pratyayas, even before applying the Vibhakti pratyaya. Um, After arriving at the combined pradipadikam and sandhi pravritini karyani. So sandhi in a sentence it could be either mandatory, it could be optional. You might want to do sandhi or you might sayeva sahayeva. You can choose to do the sandhi or not do it. But in a samasta pada, you don't have that option. When you are combining putrasya agamanam, putragamanam, it has to be combined and given that way. And samasta padhat vibhakti utpatti. So once you have got the combined pratipadikam, you have the new stem for it, then you apply whichever vibhakti you need, you would have to apply that vibhakti to get the final word, the compound word. I've gone quickly on this as it is not important from exam perspective, but to understand whatever is there for our exam, all these background information is required. Um, so the types of sutras, there is a Samya Sutra, those we will be seeing some examples. Certain term will be defined by one sutra, and in other sutras they will say for this term certain rules will apply. So that is the Samya Sutra and Vidhi Sutras we know. So for now I think we'll skip this. Samya cha Parivasha cha Vidhi Niyama eva cha Advidesho Adhikarascha Shadvidam Sutra Lakshanam. So there are these 6 types of sutras that are there. Coming back to samasa, there are different types of samasas. There is one called Kevala Samasa. Actually, it is there are certain compound words which do not have any name, specific name. You can't call it Tatpurusha, you can't call it Bahuvrihi. For example, here, Udaharanam Purvam Bhutaha Bhuta Purvaha. So this is a Samasta Padam, but there is no specific sutra which gives it a name that this is Tatpurusha or this is Bahuvrihi. So it indicates that which is former, Bhuta Purvaha, but it is a Kevala Samasa. Nothing special about it. There are Vishesha Samasas where they have specific rules and they have specific names. Like the Avi Bhavaha, Tatpurushaha, Bahuvrihi, Dvandva. So in Avivayi Bhava, for example, Upakrishnam, which means Krishnasya Samipe. So here the importance is given, all words when we are comparing two words, both are important, but the prominence is given for the first word. So it is not referring to Krishna, it means close to Krishna. So it that closeness here is important. Adi Krishnam. So in Adhi indicates in. So here the importance is given to the first letter. So Purva Padartha Pradhanaha. So Purva Padartha, if you notice in Sandhis, we deal with only Padas. You just take two Pada words and look at the last letter of the first one and first letter of the second one and combine them. But here in Samasa, as against Sandhi, the focus is on Padartha. You consider the meaning also and apply your rules here. So coming to the next one Tatpurusha, Sitayaha Pati Sitapatihi. Here, is Sita going or the Pati going? Here, Sitayaha Pati, the Pati gains importance here when we say Sita Patihi Gacchati. So Prayaha Uttara Padartha Pradhanyaha Pradhanaha Tatpurushaha. Coming to Bahuvihi, Pitam Ambaramesasa, Pitambaraha. Here, yellow color dress, one who is wearing the yellow color dress. So we are not referring to yellow, we are not referring to dress. Here we are referring to the person who is wearing yellow color dress. So here, Prayaha, Anya Padartha Pradhanaha Bahuvrihi. And finally, Dvandva, Ramakrishna, Ramascha Krishnascha Ramakrishna. Here, which is gaining importance is the first word or the second word? It is both the words. All the words in the Dvandva have equal importance. So we will be seeing in today's session more about the Dvandva Samasa. And we should know that there are different varieties. When we have also heard about Karmadharaya and even Dvigu, which where the first part will be a number. And so all these are parts of say Tatpurusha, and there are different varieties under Abhyayi Bhava. So all these are there. And apart from all of these, we hear certain terms like Aluk Samasa, Nitya Samasa, Asamartha Samasa and all. These are not different types of samasas. The types of samasas are only four. Vibhava, Tatpurusha, Bahuvrihi, Dvandvaha. Here, these are certain characteristics of the Samastapadam. So, Aluk Samasa, for example, Yudhishthiraha, Yudhishthiraha, this is actually a Tatpurusha Samasa. But here that usually we will lose the Vibhakti Pratyaya from the first word, but here it is not last. So just to indicate that it has not last as Vibhakti Pratyaya, it is called Aluk. So it doesn't form a separate classification on its own. So this aluk could happen to any of these samasas. So that way, they don't form a exclusive separate variety apart from these. So nitya samasaha, krishnasya samipam upakrishnam. So here, you can't write the vigraha vakya in place of upakrishnam. It is always used as upakrishnam only. If you want to convey this meaning, you would say Upakrishna. But in case of Rama Lakshmana, you could always say Ramascha Lakshmanascha. So optional, either you could say Ramascha Lakshmanascha or you could say Rama Lakshmana. But in case of Upakrishnam, you always use the Samastapadam only. And Asamartha Samasaha, earlier itself we saw that only where there is Samarthyam you could do Samasaha. But here referring to Rajadaraha, that is the queens, they stay always inside their Antapura. So what happens is Suryam na pashyati iti Asurya Pashyaha. So here na, the Nisheda is only for Pashyati. But in the Samastapadam you see that Asurya has come. So this is the actual Samarthyam is not there for this kind of a combination, but still it exists. So this is called Asamartha Samasaha. So we should know that these are not different varieties of samasa. So with this we will get on to the Dvandva compound. One second. You are able to hear me now? We can start with Dvandva.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'll share a different document. One second. Are you able to see this document?
Yes.
Okay. So We now start with Dvandva Samasah. The Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram is this. Charte Dvandvaha. So what it says is Anekam Subhantam Charte Vartamanam Va Samasyate Sa Dvandvaha. So in many Subhantas, the nouns, they combine together in the sense of cha meaning and. So in that sense, when they combine together, optionally they get dvandva. So why this optionally? Because there are 4 different types of senses in which this cha could be used. But the dvandva samasa comes only in case of only 2 of them. So those are the 4 different types are listed here. Samuchaya, Anvachaya, Itaretara Yoga, Samahara, Chartah. So what are the different arthas that are possible for cha? These are the 4. Again, from examination perspective, the first 2 are not required to be mentioned, even if they ask us to explain this, but still for our knowledge, we will know this. This dvandva applies only to the 3rd and 4th, but we will see what 1st and 2nd are. Samuchaya is when they get, we'll see the example. Ishwaram Gurum cha bhajasva. So here you need to worship God, you need to worship your Guru. So when you are asked to do these 2, the way you would worship God is different from how you would worship your Guru. So you just can't combine Ishwaram Guru and then do the action of the bhajana. So here, since they are done differently, you can't make a samasta padam. So again, it's the vivaksha here. What do you want to convey? So grammatically, you would be able to join these 2 words, but here the intention is different. You want to say you worship God, you worship Guru. So that's why pada artha, we consider the meaning and the vivaksha and decide on this. So in this case, in samuchaya, we will not be able to do dvandva samasa. Then anvachaya. So in anvachaya, there is one gains prominence and other is only secondary or optional kind of a thing. So here we see this example, Bhikshamata Gamcha Aneya. So those days when the boys are staying in the Gurukula, they might have to go in the evening to beg for alms. When they do that, the cows belonging to that Gurukula, it would have just wandered by. So the teacher or the patni is asking them, so when you go for bhikshas, if you find the cow there, bring it back home. So bhikshamata gamcha aneya means the main action is bhikshamata. If you happen to see the cow, there is this clear distinction of one is important and other is secondary. So if this kind of distinction is there, you can't do dvandva. In dvandva, they are, as we have seen earlier, they all the terms gain have equal weightage. Okay, coming to Itaretara Yoga, here several mutually different objects are now combined here. Ramascha, Krishnascha, Ramakrishno. And so because we are combining 2, it becomes now dual. Krishna, Krishna, Krishnaha. So it has become Ramakrishna. Same way, Dhavascha, Gadirascha, Dhava Gadiro. These are 2 different types of trees. And so when we are combining 2 words, it becomes comes in dual. When we are combining more words, obviously it becomes plural, like Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. Samahara, the other type of dvandva is the samahara dvandva. Here we are referring to several objects and considering them as a single group. So it could be Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna. Here you are saying these 4 people are coming, but if you want to say this group comprising of these 4 people are coming, or a group comprising of all Ramas and all Krishnas, or even one Rama and one Krishna, if you want to, so again it is the vivaksha. If your intention is to talk about a group as doing something, or you want to refer to the group, then you would use samahara. If you want to refer to those individuals, they are doing, then in that case you would use itaretara. So here we will see an example. Hariharo, and both Hariharam is possible, and Samahara will be in Navumsakalinga and it will be in Ekavachana. We will be seeing the specific sutras also for this, how it comes in ekavachana. And though generally we say both are possible, for samahara, in certain cases, the sutra says only samahara will be applicable in this case. So those also we will be seeing it now. Moving on, we'll come back to that. Okay, Dvandve Ghi. Now, as we saw earlier on when we are the prakriya to arrive at a samastapada, first is you should know which is the sutra. Here, Charte Dvandva. Okay, we know that Rama and Krishna can be combined together. Now, which one has to be placed first? For that, just to indicate that there could be the this question arising. For example, earlier we saw Ragnya Purusha, Raja Purusha, but here we will see another example. Dantanam Raja, Rajadantaha. So here, Rajadantishu Param. Here explicitly they are saying you the first one what should come. Okay, I'll go to the general rule which says when you are in your samastapadam, upasarjanam purvam, whichever has been defined as the term upasarjanam, that has to be only always placed first when you are combining two words in a samastapadam. So what is upasarjanam? Again, another sutra which clarifies what upasarjanam is. This is a Sanya Sutra which says Pratama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasarjanam. So in the Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram, so Charte Dvandva we saw that is a Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram, or otherwise if you take Karmadharaya, for that the sutra is Visheshanam Visheshena Bahulam. So this is the Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram which determines that okay, Samasa is possible. There whichever has been given first, that is termed as Upasarjanam. So here Visheshanam is given first. So when you are doing a Karmadharaya Samasa, there whatever is the Visheshanam or whichever is the adjective, that has to be placed first. So these two rules, Upasarjanam Purvam, of course, this is the rule and this is Samya. Pratama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasarjanam, they determine which has to be placed as the Uttarapada. But there are exceptions to that. Just to indicate, highlight that there are exceptions to that, the sutra has been placed here. Rajadantadishu Param. So there is a Rajadanti, Rajadanta and other words. So there is a list of all words where the Purvanipata, whatever has been placed first, comes as the Uttarapadam. For example, Dantanam Rajaha. So Dantanam is Danta is placed first, but that comes as Uttarapada. So just for our understanding, that we need to be concerned about what should be placed first and refer to those rules. Now coming back to again for that specific sutra, there is a Vartika which says Dharmadishu Aniyamaha. So when there is Dharma, it could be either way. You could either place Dharma here as the Uttarapada or the Purvapada. Okay, coming back to Dvandva Samasa, it says Dvandve Ghi. So it states that in Dvandva, Ghi has to be placed first. So what is this Ghi? Ghi is again a term, a Samya. So this term, which words get to be termed as Ghi? For that, the sutra is Shesho Gyasaki. That is Sheshaha Gi Asaki. So apart from the single word Saki, the remaining get the Gi Samya. So what is this remaining? From the earlier sutras, you would know that they have already covered feminine words, and whatever is left is only the masculine word which ends in I or U. So the masculine words which end in I or U, like Hari, Guru, all these. So these words, except for Asakhi, because it said Asakhi, except for Sakhi, Sakhi is a Pullinga pada ending in Ikaranta. So except for these, the other words get Ghi Samya. And the sutra says Dvandve Ghi. In Dvandva, Ghi has to be placed first. So as we saw, again recollecting what is Upasarjanam and Upasarjanam Purvam. The Saptami Tatpurusha, the Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram is Saptami Shaundehi. So here it states Saptami as the first term. So whichever term is in Saptami Vibhakti in the compound word, that has to be placed first. That's how Yudhishthiraha, that Yudhi is placed first. So like this, the determination of what is to be placed first for Dvandva Samasa, if you go by that Upasarjanam, what is our Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram? Charte Dvandvaha. It says Charta has to be placed first. Now in Ramakrishna, Ramascha Krishnascha, both are Charta only. So because this Upasarjanam Purvam does not clearly point out which term has to be come first, we have these additional rules which clarify which term has to be placed first. So Dvandvegi example is Harischa Harascha. So Hari as the Ikaranta Padam, so it gets the Gi Samya, and so that is to be placed first in the compound word. So we have Hari Harau. And there is another Vartikam when more than one have this Gi Samya, what do we do? When both have Gi Samya, what do we do? It clarifies that whichever is worshipful, that has to be placed first. Abhyarhitam Purvam. Harischa Giricha. Hari Giri. Another Vartika again clarifies when there are multiple words, what should we do? So there is Hari, Guru, Hara, everything is there. One thing is clear, the first one has to be have the Gi Samya. Aneka praptau ekatra niyamaha anyatra aniyamaha. So when there are many words, ekatra niyamaha, you apply the rule for the first letter, first word, first part. So you either take Hari or Guru because both are having Gi Samya. Having taken that, don't bother about the remaining words, put it in any order that you want. So starting with Hari, it could be Harihara Guravaha, or starting with Hari, it could be Guru Haraha. Same way, you could start with Guru and put the other two words in any order. Next one, Alpachtaram. Having placed Hari first, now he is placing Shiva first, giving that example. Alpa Ach Taram. Ach refers to all the swaras, vowels. So whichever word has the lesser number of vowels, that has to be placed first. Shivascha, Keshavascha, Shiva Keshavav. Shiva has only 2 vowels. Keshava has 3 vowels. So Shiva is placed first. Again, Vartika clarifying here, though this Alpachtaram is there is an exception to it. We only say Rama Lakshmana, we don't say Lakshmana. No, Rama Lakshmana, Rama is anyway having lesser number of words. Say, okay, take this only. Yudhishthirascha, Arjunascha. So here, Yudhishthira Arjuna. Why? Because Yudhishthira is elder. Bhratur Jaya Saha. Elder one has to be always placed first in a Dvandva Samasa. Moving on. Dvandvascha Prani Turya Senanganam. This is again a Samasa Vidhayakam Sutram. It says that which can be combined to form a Dvandva compound. It means Yesham Dvandvaha Ekavat. So carrying over certain terms from the earlier sutras, the vritti is written. It is clarifying that this sutra is to say that the compound word will be in Ekavachana. And here we will see what is the meaning here. Prani Turya Sena Anganam, the parts of what? Prani. Prani here indicates both human beings and animals. So parts of our body. Turya is a musical band, all the players there. So a combination of those players, musicians. So Prani Turya Senanganam. Senanga, a part of the Sena. In an army there are various divisions. So when you are combining them, all these, they will result in Ekavachanam. And so by Ekavachanam, they are bringing in this concept of Samahara Dvandva. So you treat them as one group, one unit. And now when I am treating them as one unit, what should be the lingam for that? So there they are clarifying that sa napumsakam. So it will be in Nabumsaka. But what is the general rule? This is a very important sutra again. We will just see that and come back to Dvandva. Paravat lingam, Paraval lingam Dvandva tatpurushayoho. So this says that when you are combining two words, the compound word will have the lingam of the second or the last word. So here, if you see, kukutascha mayuri cha. Mayuri is in strilinga. So kukuta mayuryau. Mayuri mayuryau mayuryah. So it ends in strilinga. Same way, if you just reverse this order, mayuri cha kukutascha, then it would become Mayuri Kukkutau. So here it is in Pullinga, Kukkutaha, Kukkutau, Kukkutaha. So this sutra says that Paraval Lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. In Dvandva and Tatpurusha, the lingam will be determined by the last word that you place in the compound. And this applies only to Itaretara Yoga because by that other Sa Nabumsakam, we see that for Samahara Dvandvaha, it is going to be only Nabumsakalingam. So for Itaretara Yoga, considering the last letter, we will have to arrive at the lingam of the compound word. Now going back to Dvandva Samasa. So Panyoho Padascha Samahareha, Panicha Padocha Samahareha, it is Pani Padam. So you are referring to the group that comprises of all the limbs, the hands and the legs. Nilesh, can you read this? The next example.
Panyoho Padayoho cha Samahara, that one, right?
Next one.
Oh, Mardangikascha Vainavikascha Isham Samaharaha Mardangika Vainavikam.
Okay, that is the players of Mridanga and Veena. And the next one?
Rathikascha Ashwarohascha Esham Samaharaha Rathikashwaroham.
Okay, so those who ride in chariot and those who are on horseback. So the group of these, because here in the sutra we see that Prani, Turya, Sena, Anganam. Sena, Anganam. So these are examples for those specific three cases. Then moving on in Dvandva Samasa. So this is not a comprehensive list. Picked up only those that have been asked in the exam, either directly as a sutra or the colored ones are where the example has been asked in the exam. Okay. Now, Yesham cha Virodaha Shashvatikaha, whose enmity is permanent. In those cases, when you are joining two words, for example, Goscha, Vyagrascha, Go Vyagram, here their enmity is permanent, so it has to be always only in, you wouldn't be saying they both are walking, no, they are both going together or doing something together. So you would be referring to them as a group only. Go Vyagram, it is Samahara Dvandvaha. Same way, Ahischa Nakulascha, Ahinakulam. And further, classifying, as I mentioned, Samahara and Itaretara, certain words will come in both, but here they are clarifying those which can come only in Samahara. Another example is Gavashva Prabhrutini Cha. So Gavashvam is a word which comprises of Gavascha, Ashvascha. This Gavashvam, starting with Gavashva, there are many words that are listed in a class called Gavashvadi class. So there, whatever has been listed there, they will all be have to be considered as Samahara Dvandvaha only. Nilesh, can you read this sutra?
Yeah. Vibhasha Vruksha Mruga Truna Dhanya Vyanjana Pashu Shakuni Ashva Vadava Purva Apara Adhara Uttaranam.
Yeah. So here Vriksha Mruga Trina, Dhanya, Vyanjana, Pashu, Shakuni. So these words, when you are making a compound of different kinds of these words, plus there are certain words themselves that have been listed that way. The combined words itself has been given, like Ashvavadava, Purvapara, and Adharotara. So like these, in these cases, it is optional. Optional meaning you can either do Samahara or you can do this Itaretara. And again, there is one more Vartikam for that, saying it has to be the type of Vriksha. Vrihi cha Yavaha cha. In that case, it could be both Itaretara and because here it is mentioned the different kind of trees, no? So they are providing more clarification on that. Okay, moving on. Vipradichedam cha anadhikaranavachi. Vipradishedam chanadhikarana So here they are saying Vipradishedam means contradictory qualities. Shitam Ushnam. So these are contradictory qualities. Cha anadhikarana They are not adhikarana. So they are not substances. So Shitam is not like a pot or a book. So it's a quality, no? So such words, when they are combined, they can be optional. You can either do Samahara or you can do Itaretara. So when you do Samahara, it is Sritoshnam. When you do Itaretara, it will be Sitoshne. Ushnam, Ushni, Ushnani. Okay. Moving on. The other aspects that we saw when we are in the prakriya of arriving at the Samastapadam, there could be certain changes that will be done to the first Purvapada or some changes done to the Uttarapada. So this sutra comes under that. We are going to make some changes. Purvapada Vikaraha. We are going to change the Purvapada. And what we are going to do here is, we are going to apply Anang to the Purvapada. When would we do that? When the word is ending in Rukaranta and its meaning. So that's where it is important. In case of Sandhi, it will say if there is Ru, do something. But here, the Padartha is important. Artha is also Padartha. So the Padasya Artha, we take the meaning and then determine what needs to be done. So when the Rukaranta Pada, it is indicating knowledge or family relationship. In such cases, Anang will be applied. So in Anang, the Itsamya, whatever is not required, if you omit them, basically we find that A has to be included. So in place of Ru. So Hotru, Hotru. We have studied about the 4 different types of priests related to each Veda. So here, Hotacha, Potacha, Hota, Potaro. Here Hotru, and we also studied that only the Pratipadikam has to be taken while combining. So if you take the Pratipadikam, it is Hotru that needs to be taken. Because of applying Anang, that Hotru becomes Hota. Same way, Matacha Pitacha, Mata Pitarau. So Matru has become Mata here after applying Anang. So the sutra is Anang Ruto Dvandve. Next one, Devata Dvandvecha. So when we are combining the names of 2 deities, in that case, Anang applies to the Purvapada. So Mitrascha Varunascha, Mitra Varunau. So Mitra is there, it has become Mitra when we apply Anang. And again, there is one clarification for that. There is a Vartika which says Vayu Shabda Prayoge Pratishedaha. So when there is Vayu either as a Purvapada or Uttarapada, in that case you don't apply Anang. So Agnischa Vayuscha Agni Vayu and Vayuscha Agnischa Vayuvagni. Agni Dirgham Tatra. So then Devo Dhyava. So Divaha Dhyava iti asti. So there the vritti is Devata Dvandve Uttarapade Pare. So in Devata Dvandva, what happens is Divaha Dhyava. Div becomes Dhyava. It gets the Dhyava Desha. So we'll see this example. So Div, div is the pratipadikam. If you see the ekavachanam, it will be dhyauhu. And similarly, dvivachanam, there are two forms for the dvivachanam as dhyavau and divau, and bahuvachane dhyavaha or divaha. So these are the forms. It refers to heaven, this div pratipadikam. So dhyauscha bhumischa dhyava bhumi. So here div has become dhyava in the context of devata dvandva. That has to be remembered. Mata matara pitarau udicham. Matara pitara udicham. So udicham in the northern side, those scholars, what they do is, for matacha pitacha, they say matara pitarau. So as we see, the grammar follows the language. So in language, it is being used this way. So there is a sutra which notes that down and mentions that, captures that information, saying in the northern side, this is how it is combined. Matara pitaro. And since it is only in the northern side, for the other side, we already have studied mata pitaro. Just few more to go. Shudra jantavaha. Shudra jantavaha means all those tiny creatures, minute creatures. Etesham samahare dvandvaha ekavat syat. So what the vritti says is, when these shudra jantavaha are combined in a dvandva samasa, it has to be a samahara dvandva only, ending in a ekavachana. So here yukali yukascha likshascha. Yuka liksham. Yuka is the in the hair or whatever grows that lies, and liksha is the earthworm. So when you are combining these, it has to be in a samahara only. Now, shudra jantavaha, how do we determine which is shudra and which is not, which is tiny and which is not? So clarification is given. There is a list where all beings have been listed, thousands of them have been listed. So there, nakulat shudra jantavaha. So until this nakula or mongoose, starting from the least one, tiniest one, if you can come until nakula, so those are considered as shudra jantava, because if that is not defined, for devas we might be shudra jantava, so it is all relative. So here the clarification is given, nakula shudra jantava. So here that indicates starting from like sindhu sindhu paryeta. So from that until this point, so in that sense, this is used here. Nakulat shudra jantavaha. Okay, this is the last one. Nilesh, can you please read this?
Dvandvat chu the sh antat samahare.
Yeah, so this says about the samasanta. So after combining the pratipadikam of the first word and the second word, we again apply samasanta ante. So at the end, another pratyaya, some other pratyaya is to be applied. There are several sutras, whole big section on samasantas, saying which have to be applied when. So here this particular one says that in case of dvandva, and when it is used in the case of samahare, when it is used in the sense of samahara, and the anta, which antas are there? Chu varga, the cha varga, which is called chu. Like ka varga we say ku, ta varga we say tu. So chu indicates cha varga, cha cha jana, and dha sha ha. In these cases, when the pratipadikam ends in one of these, we would have to apply the touch pratyaya. Again in touch, after you leave the other terms, what remains is a. So this a has to be added. There touch, yeah, vakcha tvakcha, vak tvacham. So here, because cha varga, where is cha varga? Tvach. It becomes tvach, no, vak. Tvak becomes tvach. So for that tvach, because of cha varga, we add this touch and becomes tvacha, and hence we have tvacham, vak, tvacham. So these are all some of the main sutras related to Dvandva Samasa. I think one more, just we'll cover one aspect. On the lingam we have covered, is it? I think pretty much we have Kukuta Mayurya. Yeah, lingam is also covered. Here Vachanam is also covered. These are all the sutras that are related to Dvandva Samasa. Were you able to follow? Was it okay, Nilesh? Any questions?
Yeah,
Veena?
it was pretty.
Veena, any questions? Any doubts? Okay, Divya doesn't have a mic probably. So she has mentioned in chat. Okay, no doubts. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Veena. Thank you, Nilesh. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.